Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. You may recall that a few days ago, so much Black Ops 6 information ended up leaking, courtesy of a Twitter user named Better Than Alex. Basically, out of nowhere, this person started posting on Twitter images and videos of some old version of Black Ops 6, a dev version of Black Ops 6. People were saying that they were accessing a jailbroken PS5, and that's how they were able to actually find this build of the game. So we have no idea how up to date everything fully is, but we got a good look at a lot of different Black Ops 6 elements. We've talked about a handful of them on the channel already, ranging from changes to the created class and gunsmith system, a bunch of new weapons that were confirmed, perks, equipment, all sorts of stuff like that. Another thing that ended up surfacing, though, that is particularly interesting in my opinion, is our next potential new Warzone map, known as Avalon. Now, if you are an active viewer or a returning viewer here on the channel, you may have heard me talk about Avalon in the past, because back actually when we initially got the Black Ops 6 Direct event, in the footage, there was actually a map that was shown that was then later discovered on the Rebirth submarine as a part of the BO6 in-game event for Warzone that was called Avalon. And it sort of depicts this islandy-like map and environment that looked relatively small and had a lot of us guessing, well, what exactly is this? It looks like it's a Warzone map. Could this be a Resurgence map? Could this be something else? And now we have a much greater idea of what this could actually end up being. So essentially, this leaker, Better Than Alex, when they were flying around some of the multiplayer 6v6 maps, noticed that one of them in particular, Protocol, actually had an entire environment built out around it that had collision, meaning that it was a part of a much larger map. Now, this is not entirely new. We've seen this situation happen time and time again, where the Warzone map is actually comprised of various different multiplayer maps and other elements of the game, right? Like Verdansk, for instance, we had multiple different multiplayer maps from Verdansk. We had multiple different maps built within Verdansk as different POIs and whatnot. So being able to fly out of those maps, we were able to see, hey, there's this much larger area that would indicate this is going to be a big map in some way, shape, or form. And that's exactly what's going on here. This leaker was able to see that Protocol was built into this larger area. There was another map by the name of Skyline that they also found the layout of. And with this is now seemingly our next big map within Warzone. So all the questions about what is Avalon going to be, you know, this little mini map that we got throughout the Black Ops 6 like reveals and everything, it looks kind of small. Could this be Resurgence? What exactly is going on? Well, according to this data mined footage that we had, unfortunately, I can't show anything on screen, of course, it does seem to indicate Avalon is the next big map coming to Warzone following the return of Verdansk in 2025. Now, that is what makes things a little bit weird here, and I want to discuss that a little bit more in detail in just a moment, but for now, I also want to break down what to expect with Avalon, because essentially Better Than Alex went through, and before it was all DMCA'd and, struck down, they were actually flying around what is essentially the entire play space for Avalon, or at least it was during a certain build of it. And while the majority of the map was not rendered out correctly, the textures all look like they were Play-Doh, because obviously it's not actually the full map. It's not correctly rendered in. And it was on a PlayStation 4, so it's a decade-old console. Like, visually, it was never going to look good, and it's not a one-to-one accurate representation of what we're going to have when this map does eventually release. You could clearly tell the general layout of the map, what the environment would seemingly look like, and some of the POIs as well. So yes, part of it actually does line up decently with the Avalon sort of mini-map area that we got throughout the Black Ops 6 stuff earlier this year. Now, it doesn't look like it lined up one-to-one, which could have been, either the map being an older build or the gameplay that this data miner was going through. That could have been an older build as well, so they might have adjusted it some, but it looked extremely, extremely similar to that. So again, sort of just connecting the dots here that this is going to be Avalon. The map itself didn't seem to have a ton of verticality, like visually. We don't really know for sure what textures, like, is this all going to be grass? Is this going to be desert, sand, rocks? What's going on here? Visually, it looked kind of Caldera, like very green, very lush, but it didn't really have that level of verticality. There were some cliff faces, some rocks, a little bit of hills, but it wasn't anything too substantial. Not like Caldera, where you are constantly running uphill unless you were on peak, So definitely more Verdansk-like, I would say, in the general environment. However, there was a decent amount of water, especially, sectioning off certain parts of the map and making them more like a peninsula or only accessible via a bridge, right? Through this fly through, though, that this data miner did, that Better Than Alex was doing, saw a lot of different POIs that are probably going to be like named POIs on the actual map when it dropped, and I wanted to break these down piece by piece, and then again talk about how strange this general situation is as we look towards the Black Ops 6 Warzone integration. As we do continue on with the details here, quick reminder, if you're new here, every single day I got you covered with the latest need to know info for Call of Duty. Obviously, so much Black Ops 6 stuff on the horizon, you're not going to want to miss any of it, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you enjoy this video, a like rating does really help grow the channel, and it's always really appreciated. But as far as the POIs go, I'll probably throw up some reference images of maybe places that could be similar to some of them. Obviously, again, can't actually show the footage of the map, but a couple of different POIs I saw, there was like this whole scatter of islands off on one of the sides that was connected by individual bridges. So it was like 6 or 7 different islands, and each one of them had a bridge connecting to another one. Kind of an interesting area. Obviously, water surrounding all of that. There was like a little bit of a docks area as well that we could kind of see on the Avalon minimap that we of course talked about. There was a general military base that had like some of those military housing and apartment buildings, kind of similar to like what we got on Urzikstan right now. There were a lot of bridges on this map, a lot of bridges near those like scatter of islands, some near the docks areas. Kind of concerned at the sheer amount of them, I won't lie. There was like an oil plant area that kind of looked like the oil fields POI from Al Mazrah as well. There were a couple of different small neighborhoods all across, that's sort of to be expected. There was a weird like Coliseum looking building, kind of reminded me of when Stadium was like fully broken down in Cold War Warzone and it had no roof on it or anything. Looked kind of similar to that, but it was much more circular like a Coliseum. It was kind of strange. There were some elevated ruins up on a hillside, one of the higher elevation points on the map, it looked like. There was also like a lakeside estate, I would almost describe it as, a big manor, like super long building, and then there was like a lake in the backyard. Interesting. There was a golf course, curiously enough, on this map as well. Kind of reminded me of Hazard from Black Ops 1 if you played that back in the day. One of my all-time favorite maps, but yes, a golf course could be here. Now I need emotes to come back so I can golf on this golf course in Warzone. Aside from the Coliseum-looking stadium, there was also a full-on, like, large, modern stadium. It was an open-roofed stadium, so almost like a soccer stadium, I would say, or a football stadium, however you want to refer to that as. There was also one open cliffside kind of sticking out off the side of the map. Kind of reminded me of like the Gulag prison area, like just have how it was sticking out and how it was kind of off by itself, except it was actually jutting out from the map and not just on like a corner. So kind of like a dead end area almost, but a lot of variety in the types of POIs. There was a good amount of distance between all of these. So again, sort of pointing to the fact that Avalon as a map is definitely going to be this big map BR. But that's the kind of situation that muddies the waters almost here, because we've almost lived this situation before. You may recall the Ural Mountains Battle Royale map that we had leaked all throughout Cold War. We were so convinced that was going to be another Battle Royale map coming after Verdansk, and it just never happened. Now, we've had various leaks and rumors over the past couple of months in regards to the timeline for the Warzone updates. Obviously, with Season 1 of Black Ops 6, we're going to see the Black Ops 6 integration into Warzone. However, at that time, we're not going to see a new big Battle Royale map drop for the first time in some time. Instead, we're just simply going to see updates to Urzikstan with ranked play, some POI updates, and then all the new weapons, operators, and movement from Black Ops 6 is going to be integrated into Warzone. And then in early 2025, we're going to see the return of Verdansk, supposedly. Again, just a leak, just a rumor as of right now. But Verdansk will be the main big Battle Royale map. And then in the middle of 2025, reportedly, we're going to see a new Treyarch-built Resurgence map. So Treyarch will have another Resurgence map entering the mix here. And again, that's mid-2025, so like maybe Season 3 or 4 of Black Ops 6. And then later on in the year, potentially alongside Call of Duty 2025 in the fall or early winter, then Avalon would end up releasing. And the reason this is so strange is that it almost seems like this map is ready, right? Like, we have multiple different multiplayer maps built into this larger area. We've had the Avalon leak for some time now, and while the general fly-through of this, if you saw the leak, you know what I'm talking about, did not look like the actual full finished map with all the textures and bugs and everything going on there, the design of it clearly is done and has been done for some time. So how is it that this map is now going to essentially just sit dormant in the files in the background for the entire year potentially of Black Ops 6 and not release until Call of Duty 2025 drops? Meanwhile, we have Verdansk returning not even at launch for the Black Ops 6 integration, but in early 2025 instead. It just seems like a weird timeline where we're not even getting a big map debut at the launch of the integration. Instead, that's slightly delayed. And then the next time we get an actual new big Battle Royale map, it's not until the next Call of Duty integration, even though it's for the previous Call of Duty that didn't get a big map integration. The timeline just seems strange given the details we now have, but we'll have to see what actually happens when everything here becomes official, and we do have more word directly from Treyarch and Raven and Activision and Call of Duty on what to expect with Black Ops 6's Warzone integration. But for now, some interesting things to think about for sure. That is going to wrap things up for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button on your way out so you can always guarantee you're up to date with every new video I post. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.